Check, check, check. All right, let's try now. How about now? Antonio, yeah, you were. Can you hear me? No better? What? Oh, sound works. Okay, we'll get a quorum here. Okay. Sound, 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 sound. What do we all agree the last thing I said was? Was I talking about the 13%, 50% of the crime, all that? Yeah, just to sum that up, the discussion that we're having nationally in our national dialogue is not being honest because no one is pointing out that this narrative that one group of because I am aware of the YouTube censor thing, so I'll say demographic and I'll say BLM. That might be part of their algorithm. If YouTube does this, then maybe I will have to go through StreamYard again. I think it was a hardware issue on my end. I really hope it is. It depends on how that plays back. When YouTube Studio is done editing that live stream, I don't know. But anyway, to have a fair conversation, you have to talk about why police are in certain neighborhoods at a higher rate. And another part that's really ironic is the origin of the defund the police thing comes from the demographic that calls 911 the most. The use of 911 is heavily in demographics that are in high crime areas. No audio on playback? Really? The fuck? And you know what? I checked the box that says not safe for children. So anyway. By the way, heads up. I can tell you guys this: Kennedy and Suits are going to put the band back together, and we're shooting for our first live episode on Wednesday morning. So you'll get a Trump-Biden debate hot take. You'll get it out here on the West Coast by about 7 a.m., 10 a.m. on the East Coast. Kennedy is in New York, and I'm here. It will initially probably be free on Connect Panel, but we're going to be getting it up on Apple iTunes and iHeartRadio very, very soon. It'll be sponsored, so it won't be a subscription podcast. But our plan is at least 3 times a week to give you a half-hour podcast that you can drive to work with or listen to at work. But here on the West Coast, especially KFI listeners, you want to hear Kennedy and Suits back together. That will be happening. The plan is Wednesday morning, and we're because of the way the industry works, we'll be able to self-sustain it by selling the advertising. So you'll indulge us if we do a live minute and a half about Solar Max. But my plan is to sort of do that ABC World News Tonight model, where we probably go 20 minutes before we do a live spot, and then I'll say, hey, Costco. Costco doesn't advertise. They just don't, because they don't have to. And there might be, on my end, I might put a YouTube my half of it up, so you'd get her audio, my video. But our goal is that we probably our goal is about a month after the election. We want to get up and running to the left of November 3rd. So this is good. We're more than a month out, and then because November is going to be a complete shit show, we'll be on and ready to cover the news, with our fresh hot takes, unedited, and so we'll give you the ways to listen as soon as we get them. But we're thinking, within 90 days, 200,000 listens per day is not unrealistic, because she's on social media. She's really big. She's on Fox. She can talk about it on Fox. I'll talk about it on KFI. So for all of you, as soon as there's a way for you to listen, I'll give it to you, and that'll be fun. But for it to be sustainable, we have to run ads. So we'll either run ads, pre-produced ads, like 20, 30 seconds, or we'll do live ads, like Solar Max. So there is that. I get that. We want her video and your audio. So let's see. Sam wants to know, what are the Dark Secret Place listener numbers compared to 200,000? On KFI, Dark Secret Place ratings on any of our day parts, Monday through Friday. We have we measure by the quarter hour, and usually I have 15 to 17,000 listeners per quarter hour, and then the download. Dark Secret Place is in the iHeartRadio top 100 podcasts every Monday. Oh, excuse me. I have to watch Tehran. I'll tell you about that here in just a second. But Dark Secret Place has been in the iHeartRadio top 100 podcasts now for 48 weeks, and they iHeartRadio curates around 350,000 podcasts right now. A lot of shitty ones. I mean, if you listen to iHeartRadio, you hear some really shitty ones promoted. But anyway, I've been in the top 100 for 48 weeks now. And also it's the only show that is actually a terrestrial broadcast show that's been repurposed as a podcast. Everything else is syndicated. Everything else is a purpose-built podcast. Dark Secret Place is the only thing in the top 100 where they take a local radio station, which is KFI, which is the biggest news talk station in America. So truth be told, and then we squish it into a podcast, and it's been in the top 100. Basically, it's been in the top 50. Lately, it's been in the top 30 for the past 48 weeks. I'm sorry, months. No, weeks, months. Yeah, weeks. Not months. 48 months now. So anyway, so it reaches, and also, by the way, if you don't know, Dark Secret Place is also on Apple iTunes. It's really hard to access their numbers. It's also on, it is on Spotify. So we're not able to measure Spotify and Apple iTunes, but just on iHeart, it's in the top 50 for the past 48 weeks. So it does really, really well, as a podcast. As a radio show, it's in the top 1 or 2 in our demo, 2554 in LA, which, for a Saturday night show of a guy in a dark room with a microphone, up against commercial-free dance parties, I'd say that's pretty good. So there you go. Yeah, as soon as Dave & Buster's opens back up, or whoever, I want to do live shows again. I almost thought of doing a socially distanced live show. I've got 11 acres, and I could fit 1,000 people here. I thought about that, but probably not going to happen. But yeah. Those are the nuts and bolts of the broadcast versus the podcast. The thing is, I would love for people to listen live, but they don't. They listen via podcast, and so KFI doesn't make that money. The company makes that money, but I don't get any credit for it. To them, I'm just another podcast. But I'm the podcast that they didn't pay a dime to make a podcast. I'm already on the payroll of KFI. So they're just taking a show on KFI and then repurposing it. And sometimes the daily dive is in there, not often, but there's no other KFI show is in the top 100 of the weekly podcasts. Then again, I'm only on once a week, and I'm on at 8:00 on Saturday night. So I understand people on Sunday and Monday morning are catching up. But anyway, so that's what's going on with that. It is. Yeah, it is me that makes the Bobcat sounds. People think that's an audio drop. That's not. That's me making the Bobcat sounds. So I wonder if I can play sound down the line on YouTube. Let me see. I don't think so. Here's the crazy lady from last Friday when Ruth Bader Ginsburg died. Let's see if you can hear this. This will be interesting. Hang on. This is a woman who said, "Holy fucking shit, you guys! I just heard that Ruth Bader Ginsburg died." So you know what it is. Let's see if you can hear it. All right. Get ready. Ready. The ducklings are duck. All right. Can you hear this? You couldn't hear it? Oh, that sucks. Oh, I bet you're hearing it in my headphones. There you go. That's her. I thought I had an unedited one. I only have the bummer. I can try it again. Let me turn the volume up on my headphones. All right. All right, that's the last impression I'm going to do. It's the opposite. There's that woman on Twitter who does the karaoke to Donald Trump, and it's it launched her into a comedy career on Saturday Night Live and all that. But I gotta get I gotta find the unedited one. Except I don't think I saved it. I know I edited it here on my computer, and I probably got rid of it. Is this it? Karen Trump? Oh, no, it's Trump saying Karen. Because Mike Pence's wife is named Karen. And one time Trump was thanking Mike Pence and, of course, his lovely wife, Karen. He said, Karen. So that's where I got that Karen thing. Bummer. I only have the edited Crazy Ginsburg. That's what I labeled it. So there you go. All right. So I have some fresh wild-caught Alaskan salmon. By the way, don't get Atlantic farm-raised salmon at Costco. You know, they add dye to it. It barely tastes like fish. You have to get North Pacific wild-caught Alaskan salmon, which I get at Trader Joe's. I got to say, they have a way of packing it. It's really good. And so my daughter and I are going to be feasting on about 1.5 pounds of salmon as soon as I fire up the smoker. So, okay, so Tehran, the guy who wrote and produced Fauda, and you've heard me talk about Fauda. Fauda is on Amazon, right? Someone correct me, Amazon or Netflix. I believe it is Amazon. But it's great. Fauda is terrific. Binge watch it. The guy who wrote it and stars in it was actually a IDF and then later Israeli police member of a unit of Israelis who spoke perfect unaccented Arabic. And they would infiltrate the West Bank and then Gaza for special missions against Hamas and other Palestinian terrorists. And so the show is in Hebrew and Arabic. And, you know, I urge you to watch it subtitled, not dubbed, because you are getting the intonation in Hebrew and Arabic. The subtitles, however, I don't believe they don't say Arabic. Hey, you drop that gun, you know, or Hebrew. Hey, take your shirt off. I think you have great tits, you know, or whatever. There is some hanky panky in the unit because they have female operatives that are native Arabic speakers and all that. But Fauda season 1 or 2 and 2 are great. Season 2 is phenomenal. But the guy who wrote it has done a new series called Tehran, and I'm not sure, but I believe it's about Israeli Secret Service infiltrating Iran. And if it's from him, it's going to be terrific. It dropped tonight on Disney Plus. Pardon me, Apple TV Plus, not Disney Plus. Apple TV Plus. I went to the wrong, on my Roku, I went to the wrong thing. What am I doing? Yeah, so Apple TV Plus is where Tehran is. 3 seasons of Fauda? I've only really. There's a 3rd season dropped. The unit, which used to be on CBS, season 1 was really good. They had the correct. Oh, there it is, Tehran. They had the correct technical advisor, the guy who was a first. One of the first Delta Force guys. Season 2 remained okay, but the unit seasons 3 and on was total shite. Total complete crap. Just like 24. I never liked 24. That was a clown show. Never liked it. But the unit season 1 and 2 is good. There's a British Sky TV series called Strike Back. And it's excellent. First 2 seasons are excellent. It showed over here in the U.S. on FX. It's really, really good. The tradecraft is good. The weapon handling is good. Called Strike Back on FX. I wouldn't waste my time with the unit, but I would definitely waste my time with Fauda. And by the way, it's F-A-U-D-A, and that means chaos in Arabic. But Fauda is terrific. Watch it with subtitles. But I'm going to check out Tehran tonight. It apparently every Friday, they're not binging it. They're dropping it, a new episode every Friday. So there we go. Cinemax? Oh, yeah, that's right. Strike Back was on Cinemax. True Detective. That was a great show. I think that's an iconic show. I binge watched that. I was late to it, and I binge watched that first season. I liked the second season, but I think you only like the second season if you live in Southern California, especially LA County, because that was very, very LA. I don't know that it even resonated if you're outside LA. And by the way, so my buddy Andrew is in The Watchmen, and you just saw The Watchmen get nominated for all this shit on HBO. I'm a fan of the original movie and the comics from the 80s when I was in college. The Watchmen on HBO, the reboot of it, it was so heavy-handed, racial, social justice. It was boring. And I wound up, and my buddy was Red Scare. And he didn't have many lines or episodes. But they didn't come back with a season 2 because nobody watched it. And that's why I called it The Unwatchable Man. Because I only watched it because I have a friend in the show. If I didn't have a friend in the show, I don't think I would have made it halfway through the fucking pilot, through episode 1. And so of course in 2020, it gets nominated for all sorts of wokeness, but it wasn't renewed. There's no season 2. Nobody watched it. It just didn't resonate with the HBO audience. However, Perry Mason on HBO, I highly recommend. Very cinematic. I loved it. And then my buddy Andrew was Detective Ennis, LAPD Detective Ennis, who turns out to be the villain. And he's great. He was voted one of HBO's top villains of all time. So anyway, he's Dewey. Dewey's late to the game. I have a friend who has a tactical gear company called Tactical Pro Shop, and he has a PVC printer, so he can make morale patches to order. And he made these for organization, and they asked him to give me one. And of course, as always, Kufa. Yeah, many of you. I sent you that link to LAFO, LAFO Auto. If you got to it and purchased their product, good for you. If you didn't, it took ATF like 3 months to get around to that. So if you bought a solvent trap, then good solventing on that. Mine works really, really good. My solvent trap reduces the it probably takes 30 dBs of solvent off. And I shoot subsonic solvent to begin with. So so it traps about 30 dBs of solvent for about a tenth of the price of my other solvent traps. My other solvent traps, of course, took a 6-month tax stamp from ATF, 6 months to be released, and you have to pay up front $2,000 for other solvent traps, with a serial number, and then the ATF, then a $200 tax stamp, and then you get your solvent trap. But it was just so much cutting out the middleman on that other solvent trap. That was neat. But anyway, they caught up to it. So, all right, if you don't mind, I have to go be a father now. So there you go. Oh yeah, and by the way, I have a gun trust in the state of Washington. So all of my guns are owned by a gun trust, the Brian Suits Gun Trust, and I'm a trustee on the trust. So the weapons are legally residenced in the state of Washington because the trust owns them. And this, by the way, is how Hollywood owns a lot of their guns. And this is how Steven Spielberg is one of the largest private gun owners in America, and so Schwarzenegger. But their guns are in Idaho. So that's how Spielberg has a gun trust in Idaho. And he can have short-barreled rifles and things like that. My gun trust is in the state of Washington, where you can legally own suppressors and you can attach them to weapons. And I've never been challenged at a gun range. But then again, I go to gun ranges where most people don't look twice. As long as you look like you're not a gangster and all that, and you look like you belong in possession of the gun that you have. So there's that. Well, as always with the salmon, I'll be drinking White Claw. Delicious White Claw. Actually, I got some sangria. Sangria is not keto. It's not paleo or keto. But that's where, because I stopped drinking beer in February of 2019, and I started drinking the delicious virtually zero carb seltzer. That plus only eating once a day, and oddly enough, I discovered the secret to losing weight and getting back in shape is diet and exercise. So let's play this game without going to Wikipedia or Googling me. I'll give you 10 seconds. How old am I? Quick, 2 digits. I'll give you that. I'll give you a heads up on that. 2 digits. How old am I? Tim is right. I'm 22. Yep, 99. That's correct. All right, time's up. Yeah, I'm 56. And I probably have been in bad shape for 10 years. In my case, the number one thing that I think probably saved my life was going on a 160-pound diet and getting rid of a very abusive person who the law called my wife. And that effectively, she went in the hospital February of last year, and then she was arrested in August of 2019. And so it's been you and me against the world for a year. And my daughter is doing better than ever in her life. And I think I'm doing a lot better in my life because there's nobody mentally abusing us. And that prompted me to get more serious about, getting in shape and all that. And so I took a 55-year-old body and I put it on a, 1 meal a day fast. I stopped drinking beer, which I miss. I went to Wazoo. I love beer. I have a master's in drinking beer from the Washington State University. It just wasn't any good for me, doing no good. And so, so I figured, well, one problem at a time. So I switched to vodka, which has 0 carbs, diet tonic water, seltzer, and as you see, it's Friday at 5:30, and I'm not sloshy drunk. So as it turns out, getting in better shape helps me mitigate, maybe I drank to ignore other problems when there was a third leg to the stool. But now that there's only 2 legs, 2 wheels on this bicycle, I'm far more responsible, and it's helped me get a handle on what could have been, a life-shortening deal. And I didn't, I want to see my daughter graduate from high school and go to, whatever, MIT, Cal Poly SLO, wherever, so I want to see that. And so I took the bull by the horns and took care of myself. And I'm really, really happy about that. Maybe someday I'll just stop drinking altogether. I don't see why. because as I say, I'm sitting here Friday at 5:30, and I'm in control. I'm not at a bar pounding it down. And this might be for those of you who are recovering alcoholics. Maybe this sounds like self-justification or whatever. But I mean, as I say, I don't. I have very close friends, and I've said, you tell me if you think I'm drinking too much or whatever, and they've all said, I will tell you, if you're drinking too much. So, yeah, the duckling update. I was thinking of having my daughter go out and get one of the boys. The live ducklings that you remember maybe from a couple months ago. They're huge now. The 3 are female, and they're already laying eggs. And I made my first duck egg pasta, by the way, which is amazing. Regular fresh egg pasta with white bleached flour and fresh eggs. That's amazing. It's phenomenal pasta, right? And it's not hard to make. But I found a recipe for duck egg pasta, and for those of you who are bakers, you know that duck eggs are the egg to use for cakes and things like that. I don't bake, but I do make pasta, and the duck egg pasta was phenomenal. I mean, it really was a different pasta, and I don't know why it's not for sale commercially. I have no idea. So anyway, so we have 2 big boys, and they're easily 5 pounds. I mean, they're huge. Part of the reason we overfeed them is so they don't fly away. But if they have food, they're not going to fly to Mexico, or anything like that. But it might be one male too many. And I've got a buddy. We're gonna go whack a Russian boar up in Mendocino County in October. And we have an arrangement with a speakeasy restaurant that's going to serve boar loin. And we're going to probably take 2 or 3, males or sows. I don't know. But we'll come back with a couple 100 pounds of boar meat. And I was thinking, instead of a turducken, which is a turkey with a duck, with a chicken inside of a duck, inside of a turkey, instead of a turducken, I want to make a boar ducken. I want to take a boar loin, bone in, and then take a boned duck roast, wrap it around the bone in the loin, and then shove a chicken in there and make a boar ducken. But I don't know. Let's see. Is that slow? Oh, you're right. It is. That's good. This one's good. They're IKEA clocks. What can I say? So anyway. All right. So that's a life update. Well, that's the thing is, they're adults now, and they're not I can't, I don't know about streaming the ducks because they don't stay in one place anymore. They're adults. They got lives. They walk around. So we don't have ducklings anymore. The youngest things that we have are guinea fowl. And guinea fowl are some of the dumbest fucking birds ever created by Odin. We like them because they kill snakes. But then again, we have California king snakes. So there might be a conflict there. If I find out that a guinea has killed a California king, I'm going to be pretty pissed. But they're not ducklings anymore, Sunset Limited. They're big. Maybe tomorrow I'll do a live stream in the afternoon before I go into KFI, and I'll have my daughter catch one. She can catch them. I can't. They outrun me. But yeah, that's where Russian boar. There's feral pigs all over Texas, Mississippi, Alabama, and those are hogs. Here in California, Oregon, and Washington, we have Russian boar. And that's way different. Feral pigs are pretty lean, but Russian boar are really lean, and it's a way different meat. In fact, I don't even think you could make bacon. They're so lean. You'd have to pen them up for like a month or two, and believe me, they're vicious. They're fucking vicious. I had a program director in Reno, and we used to bow hunt, and one of them killed one of his dogs. It was cornered, and all they do all day is they sharpen their tusks, and they are sharp. But so anyway, they are really lean but very gamey. They smoke really well, and then they're really good loins, but they don't taste like pork, only faintly. It's a different animal. So anyway, I'm salmon crazy. So I will thank you all for being on here. I just thought I would do a Friday stream. I'll try to do this maybe Friday and Monday. By the way, are you all watching on smartphone? Is anyone in their car? I'm just curious if we can do a quick survey. Who is, say, PC or car? Yeah, because if you're streaming on your phone, this could be a way to do a morning show or an afternoon show. PC, okay, most of you are home because there's a pandemic on. All right, so I'll bring more visual aids next time. I promise. Here's a quick visual aid. Here's a find. If you can get to Walmart, a lot of knives have been bought up in Walmart during the pandemic. Out of the clear blue sky at my favorite Walmart in Tehachapi, it's the only one I go to. They had a Gerber knife that you could probably find on Amazon, but this is what's called a Gerber flat iron, and it's called that because it has a flat iron tip. And this was I saw it, and the price tag was $24.97, and I just said, no fucking way. A Gerber flat iron is $24.97, and sure enough, and it was the last one in stock. So I would say if you can get to a Walmart and go back to the sporting goods, look in that knife case, and if you see a Gerber flat iron, it's called a flat iron because of the tip, then pick it up. Gerber make great knives. I'm a big fan of Columbia River knife and tool. This is the old standby. This is sort of the everyday carry. As you see, it's heavily worn. The everyday, the M16 as it's called. But it's a good knife. I mean, I've beaten the shit out of this and sharpened it a million times. And I don't know, it was $60 in the PX in Baghdad in 2004. I lost the knife that I had. And you got to have a good folding knife. It's not a good fighting knife. You don't defend yourself with a folding knife, by the way. You need a knife that you can pull. So I have a little setup where whenever you see me walking around, you'll see an orange piece of nylon tied to my belt, not the belt loop, but the belt, so that I can reach in my pocket and I can pull out a little Anza knife. This is a company here in California called Anza, and it's a guy. He doesn't make the knife till you order it. And he makes the knives out of files. So it's, file steel is high carbon, very hard. It's not the hardest steel. I need to clean up that blade a bit, but it's a good, very, very small self-defense knife that fills your hands. And if you're carrying it, as I say, I've got a straight pull deal here where I can just pull it out of my pocket, and by the time it's here, it's out of the sheath, which is a Kydex sheath. So anyway, too many visual aids. Oh, by the way, here's a scam for you. There's a company called Night Eyes that makes great headlights, spotlights and things like that. They're called Night Eyes. And they have this, I saw this combination tool and I just had to buy it because I thought they were scamming us. Because see, it's a skull, but it has a can opener and then a serrated edge and then a standard screwdriver head, a neat little multi-tool. But I bought it and it's steel. But I bought it because and I have a rare earth magnet here, but sometimes they're called super magnets. And so there you go. This is steel. I bought it because I realized, wow, that reminds me of something. There's another tactical gear company up in the Bay Area called Tad Gear, Triple Aught Design, and they have. I have been carrying this combination tool for years. Their attitude logo is that skull. These, by the way, are scuba wrenches. These fit different fittings on scuba tanks. So you have a broadhead Phillips. You have standard. You have a narrow one. You have a real rough saw blade. You have a can opener, and then you have a nail prier. And this is very, very handy. I love this thing. But it just struck me that Night Eyes was kind of copying Tad Gear. The difference is, as I say, this is steel. Good for Night Eyes. But this is titanium. And see, look at that. It's not sticking. Not sticking. Because this is titanium. So anyway, those bastards at Night Eyes. And then some of my fence posts have the year. These are called year nails. When they build the railroad, like every 10th tie. Oh, I'm sorry. Every tie gets the year it was put in. It gets a nail like this. So this, obviously, 1939, and it's an iron nail. And then one of my other fence posts is there, 1929, and it's iron. So anyway, all right. I'm a date nail. Thank you very much, Lonesome Dave. So there you go. All right, salmon time, and I'll be back on when I'm on. So have a good weekend, everybody, and I'll see you tomorrow night at 8 p.m. On the Dark Secret Place. Or, as I say, you can go to, I'll type it in again, connectpal.com, Dark Secret Place, and we will be capping the membership there very soon. So, all right, have a good weekend, and toodles.